There are hundreds of sports games worth money that you are passing up on every single day without even realising. And I always thought a large portion of this list would just be FIFA, but I was wrong. I was very wrong. So here are a few games off the list that are worth money that you are almost certainly passing up on a daily basis. The first one is going to be WWE AllStars. This on the PS3 is worth 500, it's worth nothing. It's like a £4 game. However, if you go back a generation and you find it on the PS2, all of a sudden it's worth £20 plus. Someone's just listed one on eBay for about £16 with free postage, which is very cheap. CEX sell this for £22 fairly consistently, and I see it on eBay in sold listings for over £20 as well. A game on the Wii that up until recently I hadn't even heard of, but I know for a fact I've seen in a boot sale once or twice, ATV Quad Kings. This game looks very unappealing, the artwork is terrible and the gameplay doesn't look much better. This game is worth over £25. Up next is Formula 1 14. Now this is worth just over a tenner, so it's not like crazy money or anything, but I guarantee you pass up on this a lot just because it's a sports game. Now this is one of those games where you can apply that formula, excuse the pun, to other games on the system. So for example, FIFA 17, 18 and even 19 on the Xbox 360. They were the last ones of that generation, therefore they're worth more money. And like I said, you can apply that to other sports as well. It's not just going to be football or Formula 1, and that is, I would say, 50% of working out if a game is going to be worth money or not. Was it one of the last ones on the system? But then of course you have weird games like that ATV Quad Kings, which wasn't one of the last ones on the system, just for some reason it's worth 25 quid. Now we're not done by a long stretch. However, if you want to go and take a look at that list that has over 500 games, 20 different platforms and 30 different sports, every single one of them has been researched. It will tell you whether you should buy it cart only or boxed and what condition it needs to be in, etc. That link can be found in the description. Now unfortunately it's not free because I took a long time to make this, but if you are interested, the link is in the description. I learned a fair few things while building this list. To be fair, I learned a lot. One of which was club football on the PS2 and indeed the original Xbox. Now that wasn't news to me. I knew this game existed. However, I learned something about this series of games. Now essentially what it is it's a football game that is exactly the same whichever version you buy. However, there are different skins across that game. So for example, if I buy the Liverpool game, it's going to be themed around Liverpool. If you buy the Chelsea version, you've guessed it, it's based on Chelsea. It's the same gameplay, same premise, you just have a different skin. The surprising thing was how much value there are in certain titles. So, for example, the Liverpool game on the PlayStation 2 is worth about £1, £2 if you're lucky. On the original Xbox, it's worth £8. So there's a difference there already. But the biggest surprising thing for me, and I guess now that I think about it, it isn't really that surprising. However, the games that weren't available in the UK, or rather readily available in the UK, such as Inter Milan, Juventus, Bayern Munich, for example, these are worth a hell of a lot more than your standard Chelsea Liverpool games. As one example off this list, Inter Milan, or Internazionale, on the PS2 is worth £45 and beyond. In fact, the only one I can find on eBay right now I believe is around 60, but that is brand new and sealed. And the Xbox is a pretty surprising platform here as well, because a lot of the home teams have very expensive games as well. Of course, we're looking at the likes of Leeds, Manchester United and that. They're quite common, however, they are worth a hell of a lot more than the PS2 counterparts. As another example of this, BMX XXX on the PlayStation 2 is worth about a fiver. If you find it on the original Xbox, however, this game is all of a sudden worth 12 quid, which isn't a massive jump until you go to the GameCube. The exact same game, just with GameCube written on it, is worth £40. That is a substantial jump from the PS2 version. This is a game I would absolutely pass up on, and I'm sure a lot of people would. Even video game vendors at car boot sales would probably look at this and think, oh, it's only worth 5 quid. Virtual Golf on the Sega Saturn. I know for a fact I've seen this, and if I have the footage of me looking through some Sega Saturn games, I'll show you and maybe we can find it together, because I know of one particular seller at my local boot sale who sells video games, believe it or not. He has a lot of things like Mega Drive, Saturn, Master System and what have you, and I guarantee it he's selling this undervalued. This game is worth around £20 to £25. It's a virtual golf game. There's no one out there who looks at that and think, yep, that's worth money. Absolutely no one. Granted, Sega Saturn games are becoming a lot harder to find, however, when you do find them and they're sports titles, don't disregard them, look at the list. Another platform worth mentioning is the 3DS. Although there aren't hundreds of games on this platform alone, there are a fair few that you've probably missed. This is Real Paradise Fishing on the 3DS. Now, a game that I probably have seen here or there and have passed up on because it's just a fishing game. However, there are a lot of fishing games out there. Didn't really realise how many there are. And I'm not just talking the 3DS, they're across every single platform. Even the PC has some expensive fishing games. This one is, I wouldn't say expensive, but between 18 and 20, which is a pretty decent price considering you'll probably be able to get it for a few quid in a boot sale or even in a charity shop. Not even charity shops can overprice this one. And just to finish things off, a PS2 game. I do find a lot of PlayStation 2 games in boot sales and I don't really have any energy to flick through them all. I have a quick glance, but now I will be looking specifically for sports games, having built this list and realised how many sports games are worth money on the PS2, and this one is no exception. This is Heartbeat Boxing, a game that I would absolutely 100% have not given a second glance to, and this is worth over £10. Now that I know, 10 quid? Really? But if you are interested and you manage to find just one of these games on this list, not only will it pay for the game that you've just bought, it'll also pay for the list, and more than likely put you in profit as well. This obviously isn't going to be for everyone, and that's fine, no problem whatsoever. The next video isn't too far away. So if you want to check it out, you can find it in the link in the description. If not, you can check out another video here, and I'll catch you in the next one.